So this is MrBeast, and he's just been exposed in a massive document. If you guys haven't been keeping up with the MrBeast drama, this document basically sums it up. MrBeast investigation. MrBeast involvement in cryptocurrency has come under fire, with YouTubers like Rosanna and Dogpack touching on the subject. However, their investigations only skim the surface of MrBeast's crypto activities. A team of researchers has since conducted a more detailed analysis, uncovering connections to over 50 cryptocurrency wallets linked to MrBeast. Their findings suggest a long history of insider trading, misleading investors, and using his influence to promote tokens only to later dump them on the market. This document delves into the various tokens associated with these allegations and the insider trading claims, starting with identifying the wallets tied to MrBeast. And you might be asking what the heck is going on with MrBeast and these crypto wallets, and honestly, I'm asking it with you because what is happening here? But before we get into that, let's talk about what Munar found out, or at least what he thinks he found out. A long story short, Munar starts by trying to figure out if one of these wallets actually belongs to MrBeast.
So this is on a website known as Arkham Intelligence, no relation to Batman, by the way. But of course, as you can see over here, this is a wallet that allegedly belongs to MrBeast. So this is also publicly known as a Wu-Tang Clan. Also, this would be the actual account right over here. So OX9, E67, and as you can see, there is a whole bunch of money moving in and out amongst various different exchanges and through various different projects. So Punk 939 bought for 50 Ethereum. So again, this was bought by OX9E67, and of course, in this screenshot, MrBeast comes in and says, I bought this one. Unfortunately, I did not find a MrBeast comment, so it probably either got deleted or maybe it unfortunately didn't exist. I actually don't think Connor would lie about it. I don't think he has a reason to. I think the odds of this account, not being MrBeast are pretty low. So I would think that if this was fake, MrBeast or somebody on his team would come out and be like, no, this is bullshit. It's totally not us. It's nonsense, which I haven't seen so far.
It's really strange. While this investigation is ongoing, some people believe these wallets are definitely linked to MrBeast. Like, they're convinced it's his wallet, though I'm not too deep into crypto, so I can't confirm that 100%. Keeping that in mind, let's move on. So next, there's a clip we covered in a previous video. MrBeast and Logan Paul on a podcast talking about how Gary Vaynerchuk apparently convinced a bunch of super rich billionaires, millionaires, and influencers to invest in a specific CryptoPunk, claiming it was a solid investment, essentially driving up its price.
So me and Logan both bought punks. You guys have probably seen on his Twitter that he bought a bunch of crypto punks at the same time, right? When Gary pulled us in that call.
Every heavy hitter you can imagine who's worth $1 billion was on this one call, and Gary V is in the little corner, the little square. He's going, CryptoPunks. It's gonna be huge. It's gonna be the next Facebook. Yo, Gary's nuts. Yo, Gary was right again.
Yeah.
What the?
We gotta keep the story going. So there's like all these very successful people in this call, and Gary's just like, everyone shut the up. Here's what you're gonna do, and you're gonna do it right now. You're all gonna buy a bunch of CryptoPunks. I was just so pulled by his conviction.
Yeah.
So Gary got a bunch of his rich friends to get into a call and say, hey guys, this one NFT, you gotta fucking buy it. You just gotta buy it. You gotta get it. And obviously, when these guys come together and purchase several of these CryptoPunks, obviously the prices end up going up. If you look at CryptoPunks right now, based on where they were back, in 2021, 2022, it went up all the way from here, and it just kept slipping because there's nothing to do with these projects. There's nothing to gain. You just buy a receipt on the blockchain and you sit down holding your hands doing nothing. They're all pretty much starting to sell quietly around 2023, 2024 with actual declines, not in their sales volumes, but also just in their actual value as well. But that's really what happens with these projects. They don't really go anywhere. A bunch of influencers hype them up. They try to get people into them, and when they're at peak mania in sales or value, then they quietly get shuffled out of the inventory.
They were basically trying to position MrBeast's crypto investments as these high return opportunities, but with that, there's always this underlying question of just how shady things really were. And for anyone skeptical of crypto, it's a lot like those schemes that look promising but end up being mostly hype. But somewhere down the line, it becomes clear that a lot of these tokens promised more than they could deliver. Like, one of them was called Superverse. formerly Superfarm, and it seemed to be following the same pattern as Logan Paul's Crypto Zoo. Lots of promises, but in the end, it just lined MrBeast's pockets. And honestly, with reports of him allegedly making millions, people have every reason to be suspicious.
So at this moment in time, one of the biggest dumps that I've ever seen in history for YouTube, which is quite a lot, ended up actually being showcased. One of the ways they went down into this project was discussing something known as Superverse or Superfarm, which is actually the wildest part of the story. MrBeast allegedly profited from an investment of $100,000 to $11.4 million on this, okay? It's insane. So Superverse was a cryptocurrency token that had many promises. From making an NFT marketplace to integrating with games to creating a gaming economy, promises to deliver games such as Pizza Heroes and Imposters, two games that were stuck endlessly in development. And I wonder if they actually did end up getting a full release. So unless this is the game right over here, Pizza Heroes, I don't actually think this game ever ended up releasing. The closest it appears to be might just be closed beta. Not just MrBeast, but also KSI, Lazarbeam, who had also pushed this to their fans as well. So on-chain activity shows profits upwards of 10 million for MrBeast, KSI, and Lazarbeam.
Which brings us to where we are now, because we've got the usual suspects like MrBeast and KSI involved, but then, plot twist, Lazarbeam's name pops up too. And honestly, that's not a place you'd expect to see another popular YouTuber. As someone who's invested for years, those returns look almost unreal. Like turning $100,000 into $11 million, that's a 10,000% increase. Most of us are just hoping for a steady 10% from the S&P 500, right? So yeah, this has Logan Paul level vibes all over it. I'm not gonna lie, if CoffeeZilla drops a deep dive on this, I'll be tuned in. Then there's the super token situation. A 50x return had investors hyped. But here's the kicker. Some claim they got refunded right when they were set to cash in big. Imagine waiting years on Nvidia stock, then just as it surges, they send you your money back. Suspicious to say the least.
I'm one of the pre-sale investors who got refunded after many communications attempt. I was giving some rubbish reasons and told that regardless, our SAFT was not signed by them. And apparently, they did the same for recent whitelist. So that's more of a discussion that when they were doing a pre-sale initial coin offering, which was pretty much open to public investors, on launch, while Super increased 50 times and their price jumped to $1 each, public investors who thought they actually were participating in the game had seen their refunds through legal loopholes, which again is very shady, very unethical to see. So while public pre-sale investors were refunded their money, investors like MrBeast and KSI actually reaped the rewards of that investment and apparently allegedly dumped those tokens on the followers that they had. So you can see in this like entire screenshot, you can see MrBeast over here. We can do the 100K. Thing is, you got Lazarbeam set, no problem. So that is likely towards that super pre-sale, which is where that screenshot comes from. This guy, if this is all true, and allegedly it's all true, this would make MrBeast actually somehow more fucking greedy than Logan Paul. This would actually make him the chief successful person, you know, in terms of profiting out of any crypto project at all. So you can see actual posts that haven't been deleted yet where Elio trades as, there's a gem sitting there on the market at eye-watering prices. MrBeast's like, super? Another tweet that ended up getting deleted by the post author has apparently Lazarbeam going, oh my god. MrBeast going, oh my god, with their eyes popped out, which apparently was from Superfarm DAO, which moved to Superverse. Even KSI, 2 NFT coins I'm very bullish on. Super, ERN, any other NFT I should look at.
Bro, what is this? What is this? Comment below if I'm the only one feeling that MrBeast didn't need any of this shady crypto stuff. Like, why even bother when you're already set for life? But anyway, let's get back to these tweets some of these guys made. If y'all haven't noticed, these tweets low-key implicate them in these alleged scams. And honestly, it's just pathetic if it's true. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not here to throw shade for no reason, but MrBeast was already a huge YouTuber in 2021. He didn't need to dabble in this kind of shady behavior. And we all remember what happened when Logan Paul graciously thanked CoffeeZilla for investigating only to turn around and sue him, right? So, I wonder if MrBeast will try to keep this under wraps or go the same route. My guess? He'll probably stay as quiet as possible, unlike those other cases where things could be brushed off.
Now, according to this, the wallet receives an initial batch of 1 million of those super tokens, right? So they get 1 million of these tokens into the main OX9E6 wallet. Here, it's all done very intelligently, where the wallet then distributes to side wallets. So, for instance, one of the side wallets that was identified allegedly with OX4F7B6. So that wallet basically farmed small increments over a period between March to June 2021. So MrBeast keeps getting this supply of super, which he then distributes to numerous wallets, okay? The main account that was receiving it was apparently this Bobby Digital wallet, OX2CO7. So you can just see money outpouring into these various accounts right here. So what's interesting is once they were siphoned to these smaller accounts, allegedly, and if you're looking at it, you're looking at 5.82 million, 3.3 million, 249,000, 60,000. At that point, these amounts were then transferred out and actually exchanged. So in one case, they went to Uniswap over here, which again, they were swapping, and it ended up totaling out, according to this Arkham trace, $9.2 million. That is actually the craziest return on investment I've ever seen by putting up this shill token to your audience.
You know what I'm wondering? How can MrBeast be this good at business? Like, are we all just too dumb to understand his Saul Goodman level genius? The man casually pulls off a 10,000% return like it's nothing. Hypothetically, with the insane amount of cash he's sitting on, nearing $1 billion or whatever, if he keeps pulling this off, he could practically own the entire US economy. Absolute genius, right? Obviously, I'm being sarcastic here. But really, people are asking why a guy like MrBeast, who was squeaky clean until recently, would link up with Logan Paul and KSI, guys already called out for crypto drama, and now it's all making sense. Clearly, he's down for this kind of venture too. And listen, I might not know every detail about crypto wallets, but 50 wallets? Really? In what world does anyone need over 50 wallets? Maybe I'm ignorant, but feel free to let me know in the comments. Anyway, let's move on to the so-called proof that he only invested $100K in this project.
And even an investigation by Soma XBT, who actually said that, MrBeast allegedly made $10 million by backing low-cap IDO crypto tokens promoted by influencers like Lark Davis, Crypto Banter, KSI. He also said, yes, this is based on that wallet that we're talking about on Arkham Intelligence. And of course, the proof that he invested only $100K into Superfarm DAO, a screenshot from LEO Trade's live stream, he accidentally revealed, MrBeast, if we can do the 100K, thing is yada yada. But this is actually the investment from MrBeast going in to this OX4079, right? And of course, you can see 100.88K.
Okay, I really hate to say this, but just hear me out for a second. Imagine if MrBeast actually faces charges for all of this, right? Like, picture this. A big name YouTuber caught up in a criminal case for financial fraud, or maybe even getting sued by an investor. I mean, come on, that's just wild, right? I don't think it would play out the same way if the tables were turned, though, you know what I mean? Logan and KSI are still out here without a care, so who knows? And honestly, this whole situation could easily be brushed off with something like, oh, I was just moving funds between wallets, or I really believed in the project. Just to be clear, I'm not saying he's guilty, but if this investigation holds up, the reputation hit is going to be huge. If you want to make a statement or prove a point, that's one thing, but playing in risky ventures like this, it's really concerning, especially with fans watching every move. So what's the end game here?
When tabulating up every single wallet address and the liquidity that ends up being extracted, it ended up coming around to $11.4 million. So it ended up being around $23 million of cash, right? This is just like a chunk of it.
But believe it or not, while MrBeast goes on podcasts and everywhere else claiming he reinvests every dollar into his videos and charity work, saying things like, I'm actually broke, I don't keep anything for myself, behind the scenes he's allegedly making millions, $20 million here, $20 million there. If you know, you know. Not gonna lie, the whole facade of MrBeast as this selfless, world-fixing figure has taken a complete 180. It's wobbling out here now, and honestly, with all these allegations, that image of MrBeast as a kind-hearted savior just doesn't hold up. This document actually digs even deeper into his crypto ventures, and here's another one for you, Eternity Chain.
So he receives a large batch of these tokens from the actual pre-sale going into his accounts. He then accumulates actually more supply, so he transfers half of these tokens to a wallet known as OX2 EB7 allegedly, then transfers the remaining supply to another wallet allegedly known as OX9 B006. So immediately after, shortly after, these wallets start dumping that supply all the way into Uniswap for a grand amount of $3.7 million. So yeah, this is one of those things where immediately the man jumps onto a project, promotes it, but it turns out that that project is being sold.
If you guys haven't realized it yet, the rest of us regular investors are playing in a completely different league. Like when we put in $100, we're happy if we get $110 by the end of the year, a solid 10% return. Meanwhile, MrBeast is out here on a whole other level. I guess we all just need to catch up, right? Now, I think you guys get the point. There's a ton more to this story, so definitely check out the document if you're curious, and if you like what you see, show some support to the investigators. But the worst part about all of this, it's not even about the money these guys are making, it's where that money's coming from. Their fans who trusted them put in their hard-earned money and then just got burned. I'm talking about regular 9-to-5 folks putting in their savings, hoping for a return, and now they're left with losses while these guys are cashing out. Another one we'll talk about, XCAD. You might have heard of it.
Now, XCAD was apparently a shady token with an individual named JMX, who also was implicated in a scam that I covered alongside CoffeeZilla known as Save the Kids. KSI would go out and just talk and say, "Hey guys, King XCAD, I'm laughing at you noobs, GG get wrecked, FOMO Central."
You know what? I got a glow in your motherfucking faces. No, hold on. You see that, motherfuckers? You see that? You see what I fucking line is?
I wonder what the core target audience of KSI's antics really is, because I doubt that people who see through this stuff are buying it. Like, I've practically never heard anyone say, "Yo, I really trust this guy with my financial future." So, I'm genuinely confused as to who's actually believing in this, and if it's just young fans who see him as an idol, then honestly, they deserve better. I know he's trying to hype this up and make it look like some golden opportunity, but it doesn't change the fact that this is plain shady, just trying to flip the narrative and hoping fans won't see it for what it is. That's kind of wild.
Okay, so KSI's like hyping it up like, boys, we doing it. And it's not just here. He goes on to the Sidemen podcast and pretty much drags the other people into this situation as well, too.
You've been given 500 grand in cash. What do you buy? You're going to say crypto, but I'm going to say, you have to buy something with it. What are you buying with the 500 grand cash?
Bitcoin. Ethereum.
Tax-free. Tax-free.
Something
XCAD.
tangible. Something tangible.
I'm done. I'll back it.
XCAD.
Now, this is where I like to thank the investigator. Zach is a great investigator and somebody you should absolutely follow, who showcased how KSI sold 850,000 of his tokens hours after saying that to his large audience, right? So all of a sudden, my XCAD bag is looking juicy. Hodl gang, writes KSI Crypto. And if you look at KSI, yeah, I don't think he's holding, dog. He's throwing all that shit into Uniswap, XCAD, to USD, it seems, in the thousands. So yeah, he proceeded to allegedly dump $850,000 over the following days from his actual wallet address.
Now, I'm just going to say, though, imagine if the roles were reversed. Imagine KSI getting called out by CoffeeZilla and then responding with, "I'm just stupid, guys. I tweeted the opposite of what I was doing because I thought my audience would do the opposite of what I say." Like, that's the dumbest defense ever, and it wouldn't fly in court, you know what I'm saying? And I'm sure KSI's fans will be all over the comments defending him. But anyway, that's the crypto stuff. Let's move on to MrBeast's response to the Ava Tyson situation and the controversy about hiring registered offenders in his own company. So he finally responded to his tweet from months ago apologizing for the Ava Tyson thing, but only replied to it now, probably to avoid it getting too much attention. A 3-month investigation supposedly reviewed millions of documents and 39 interviews. But keep in mind, this is the company MrBeast himself hired to investigate him. It's called a third-party investigation, but the whole thing feels pretty dodgy to me. This investigation was basically presented as a game changer for transparency at MrBeast LLC, and with that kind of announcement, it had to maintain a clean and professional image at all times. For anyone familiar with corporate culture, the best comparison I can give is probably something like a big law firm investigating its own high-profile client. But somewhere down the line, you start to realize that this investigation might not be as unbiased as it's claimed to be. I specifically remember seeing mentions about Quinn Emanuel handling this case, but then you find out they were hired directly by MrBeast's company, so, you know, take that as you will. Now, it's really different from what you'd expect if a completely independent third party were in charge. Anyway, that's all for today. If you can, please hit that like button and maybe subscribe to help me out.